This is the voice of the private sector. Brian Bushlach's Business Briefing, presented by Uity.
And welcome back here on the Voice of the Private Sector this weekend from our studios in Portland. Glad you could join us. And this week I sat down with an expert on Chinese American business. Raymond Cheung is a shareholder at Geffen Messer, and he works primarily with businesses in the manufacturing and distribution industries. Raymond, from Hong Kong originally, really with the insight that businesses across our region need to be successful in China. I sat down with him at Geffen Messer this past week. Well, Raymond, the Pacific Northwest has a real geographic advantage doing business with China. How do you think businesses here can maximize the opportunity?
I think a lot of companies from Oregon are already taking advantage of the geographic location. So to stay competitive, and that's why we export business to China most out of any other countries. And also, I encourage companies to participate in trade mission to develop a stronger business relationship with people from China. China has a great significant market potential for certain businesses, such as energy efficiency, clean technology, healthcare, or e-commerce industries.
So tell me about China. I'm intrigued because it's such a huge nation with so many people, but I would imagine that it's still all about relationships there, right?
Absolutely. So anytime when you look at a country with that much population, it's always attractive for any other businesses. So, and especially in China, is all I always said is not what you know, is who you know, because it's all get down to people like to, it's human nature. When you want to do business, you want to do business with people you know better. And then that's why relationships come to play.
Well, it's been great for you to develop your practice and so vital for so many professionals across Portland and the Northwest to get to know you and your practice. I want to ask you, what do you think the biggest differences or challenges are to doing business in China? And what do you think maybe the biggest similarities are?
I think for most companies who want to enter into the China market, they are always worry about the IP protection, because it's always a concern for company moving businesses to China. They worry about the IP because in China, to this day, they still don't have the same standard as we do business in terms of IP protection here. But they're moving the right direction, no question about it. I mean, I look at what we are in China today versus 20 years ago. They make a huge step, and sometimes there's I call it the inconsistent regulatory interpretation. The competition with Chinese companies sometimes become an uneven playing field, because if a foreign company, they have I would say they have a perception that they don't have the same standard. So, but in reality, it might not be the same. So
you kind of have to know that going in, I guess. And then what would be some of the similarities? Because I know they emulate the U.S. They want to build their economy, so there have to be many similarities in that economy, right?
I would say when you look at both U.S. and China, they are the top destination for foreign direct investment. And therefore, there's a lot of investment opportunity between the two countries. I think both countries attract a lot of business people try to establish their business in those countries, both U.S. and China. And also, I think when you look at China with the new administration, they have done a wonderful job in terms of implementing this new, I call it the anti-corruption campaign, because I look at how they do business today and versus 5-10 years ago, there's a notable difference.
That's good to hear. If you're just joining us, Raymond Cheung here at Geffen Messer and talking about China and doing business there. And I guess from an accounting perspective, Raymond, how do cultural differences maybe impact the approach that you have to take? And how do you help to bridge those differences? Because I know it can be quite a bridge to build.
I guess when I believe that I have an advantage from the cultural perspective, since I'm a native Chinese from Hong Kong and speak both Mandarin and Cantonese. Without the language barrier, that's half of the battles. I mean, communication make it a lot easier for me, and understanding these cultural differences allow me to be effective with my U.S. client when deal with Chinese company. And from the accounting perspective, some of the accounting practices in China are not the same as how we do business here in the U.S. For instance, most Chinese company will have two sets of books, and that's a different concept how we do business here. And they will keep one for income tax purpose, one for internal reporting purpose. And also, when you look at internal control environment, it's always an area of concern because of these differences in accounting practices in China.
So how do we attract foreign investors from China? We know there's been a huge influx of Chinese investment in residential real estate and commercial real estate, particularly on the east side of Seattle and some throughout the Portland area as well. But really, from a macro perspective, you've got this unique position of being from Hong Kong and now in the U.S. here at Geffen Messer, and so you've got some incredible insight here to share with our audience. How do we encourage the Chinese to choose Oregon over other states?
When you look at, I think our state government and our local government have done a great job in terms of participating in all this trade mission. Our governor, K. Brown, and Business Oregon is a Oregon state agency, have done a great job promoting Oregon in Asia. As part of our delegation to travel to Asia last October, the agency mission was to promote Oregon tourism and businesses and food products. As a result, when you look at our state, we export China more than any other countries. And also, when you look at Pacific Northwest in general, is already known as an international hub for global businesses. We have Nike. Everybody know Nike in Asia Pacific, and especially with those also operating in Asia Pacific, it is beneficial for us to continue to maximize this global business practice by attracting foreign investment from China.
And more with Raymond Cheung at Geffen Messer when Business Briefing continues.
You're listening to Business Briefing presented by Uity. Visit youity.com.
Well, so many concerns for U.S. businesses, particularly those in our region, when doing business in China. Got to have a professional on your side who knows what he or she is doing. Raymond Cheung at Geffen Messer is that man. He was born in Hong Kong, a Chinese American who is helping regional businesses to not only survive, but to thrive in China. And what's nice to know behind the scenes is that the Chinese really love American products. Oregon is so uniquely positioned, and you look at the work that's been done by the governors of Oregon going back 30 plus years. The relationship we've had with Asia Pacific countries, and particularly the Chinese, really from a positioning standpoint, geographically, Oregon is so uniquely positioned. And I got to ask you now about some of the economic questions about China. You know, it's been an interesting couple of years there. Humongous growth over the past decade, really the past 50 years there, but particularly the past decade. And now we've seen the devaluation of Chinese currency. It's down nearly 10% in the last couple of years. Got to ask you, Raymond, you know better than most, what impacts do you see it having on U.S. and on Chinese companies?
It's definitely help U.S. company who import products from China. Some of I can see some of our U.S. client who source material from China are benefiting from a better profit margin due to the devaluation of Chinese currency. On the other hand, when you look at, I think Chinese companies are not buying as much than they used to due to the slow economy over there and also the devaluation of Chinese currency. I would say that Chinese company today, they're more selective or try to buy better quality products. But in general, Chinese consumer like products that are made in the USA than any other countries.
I think that really speaks volumes for our audience because there's been so much talk about offshoring and business going to China. It's really interesting to hear from you. I mean, you're so experienced with this that the Chinese appreciate products that are manufactured in the U.S. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree there because when you look at historically in China, the products produced from China may not be as high quality, but I think that had changed. When you look at, I look at China over what they are focusing today, they try to produce higher quality products. I mean, if you look at, I wouldn't be surprised the next 20 years you'll see a lot of products being invented in China because the whole government's pushing not just being a manufacturer, they want to be the inventor as well. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear. If you're just joining us, Raymond Cheung here at Geffen Mesher, and more economic, I guess, talk here. I want to kind of find out what's happening because you've got your pulse on Main Street in China and in the U.S. And what's been the impact on the U.S. economy here as a result of the slower economic growth in China? Are we feeling this here locally?
So I think China will still continue to grow, just at a slower pace, because when you have a high base, it's going to be difficult to have the double-digit growth on a regular basis. But there are still a lot of market opportunity for U.S. company to enter. At the same time, you look at Chinese company have been acquiring U.S. company, and especially in the real estate properties. Yeah, you look at Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of Chinese company coming here to buy commercial buildings. With the slowdown of the Chinese economy, Chinese company, especially the public company, are looking for ways to supplement their growth and bringing in new technology into the company. So they will do a lot of acquisition here in the U.S. to one way to bring in the new technology. At the same time, they want to find a way to supplement their growth. And the government over there is encourage those type of activities. And Oregon has been a beneficiary for these acquisitions.
Tell me about your practice in particular, because there aren't very many CPAs in the U.S., particularly in the Portland market, who have the type of practice that you do. Now, you've got a unique skill set. You're from Hong Kong. You speak many different languages, so that gives you a tremendous advantage, obviously. But what's it like? How often do you get back to China, and how many of your clients are you working with to help them build their business there? Because I know that's a big part of what you do.
In terms of travel, I probably have the most miles, airline miles within my firms. I took 10 trips to Asia last year. I'm just trying to be a resource for our U.S. client, try to enter that market, because there's essentially for our Asia Pacific practice, we have two type of clients. One is helping company mainly located in the Pacific Northwest, to try to enter the Asia Pacific market. In fact, some of those companies already have a presence over there. So our firms also have affiliate office in China, Hong Kong, and any other major city in the Asia Pacific region. That become pretty handy because we work as a team to help our client. A lot of time when you deal with a local tax jurisdiction issue, it's better to have a local presence.
So, inside advice now, free advice for our audience here. Closely held family business, Portland area, maybe haven't
moved into the Chinese market yet, but thinking about it, let's talk about first steps. Obviously, I want them to get in touch with you. You'd be a great resource, but really from a logistical standpoint, I guess it probably depends on the type of business, but in general, what do you recommend?
I would think that you probably should have good legal and accounting advisor on your side, because that will save you a lot of time to navigate to enter that market. Because I would think both legal and accountant can know about the Chinese market, can give you really good advice to enter that market. You will skip a lot of hurdle without going through a lot of barrier.
I would imagine you have other business contacts as well, maybe in different sectors, that can provide some insight as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we work with a number of legal counsel from locally here and also over there in that region, and also accounting, our affiliate firm in that region as well.
It's been great catching up, Raymond. Great insight. Thanks for joining us here on Business Briefing. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Our thanks to Raymond Cheung at Geffen Mesher. Great insight. If you'd like to reach out to Raymond, head to Geffen Mesher's website, a great resource